Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to another episode of Ready, Set, Live. My guest today is Cindy Cowan, an Emmy Award-winning and Oscar-nominated producer. In 1995, she co-founded IEG. During her tenure as president, IEG had successes that included an Emmy nomination for Rent-A-Kid, Emmy, Golden Globe, and People's Choice nomination for If These Walls Could Talk, and the Oscar-winning film Traffic, starring Michael Douglas. Cindy Cowan has a calm confidence about her. She's comfortable with her success and clear about her objectives. She is a smart, beautiful, and one of the most successful producers in Hollywood. Don't go away. I'll be right back with Cindy Cowan. Welcome to the show, Cindy.
Nice to be here, Gary.
Good to have you in the house. It's always nice. When I met you, I was taken by your energy, which it's all about energy. To be a success, I believe, in any business, it's energy. And you have this, I would say, glow about you, spiritual vibration. Did you always have it?
I think I kind of did. I don't know. My father used to look at me and say, like, who made you like this? I was the kid that was rescuing every animal that was about to be put to sleep or was on the side of the street, and was always taking care of the kid in the class that was being bullied. So I don't know. I tend to just be that girl. Did you find growing up, because I know sometimes as we grow up, we have an intent of what we want to do, or you radiate this vibration to entertainment, or, one of my clients years ago, Belinda Carlisle, she said when she was a teenager, she would come home and she had this magic box where she would say, I'm going to be a rock star, international. Was there a Cindy Cowan moment where you said, I'm going to be in show business, or I need to do something? My family used to probably think I was going to be in show business always. We were the kids that my sister and I came out acting Green Acres and singing our songs and doing all these kind of crazy things. But no, I actually was going to be a therapist, and I went to school studying psychology, ended up getting, a master's in psychology, and that was the path. I took the infamous year off, which is never a good idea, as I tell people now. And that led me into showbiz. I think I always wanted to be in show business, but I knew my family, as most families, didn't want me to. And so kind of not wanting to break the family tradition, I kind of started to go down a path that might not have been my own.
Was there a catalyst? Because I know you went to Tulane, and then you went to Harvard, and then was it an epiphany that happened that said, oh, here's your chance to go into show business? Or did you come to Hollywood and say, oh, I just fell into it?
Kind of did. I kind of was a runaway bride and left Florida and came out to California, needed a job, and started to learn all the aspects of entertainment. And I got thrown on some sets, started at the bottom as a PA, and climbed my way up, but just had a knack of dealing with people and understanding financing, and then becoming very talent friendly. And so what I quickly realized is there was an opportunity for me here, and that I could kind of, in my own way, try to reinvent the business. I think people thought I was nuts, but I did it. And after the first year, I opened my own company. I briefly had a stint as a songwriter and took all the money from songwriting and put it into the first company, never thinking we were going to do as good as we did. And the rest is history. Wow.
And, I believe a good producer has all the components of being able to be a people person, finance person, applying good skills and kindness. And really, that's what brings people together. You bring people together, really. What advice would you say to or give to someone who wants to get into producing and they don't have a clue? What would be the biggest lesson you've learned so far?
I always tell people, because I get asked this question a lot, it depends on where your passions lie and where your strengths lie. So if your passion is, I want to tell stories, and you find a story, a true one, I like true stories, or something that's in your head. Maybe you're a Harry Potter fan and you think you can find the next franchise. Whatever it is, be passionate about that story, because you're going to be on it for years. The next thing I would tell people is, if you have a skill with financing or money or access to money, that could be another way to get into the business. It could strictly be, I'm looking at this as a business, and I know how to finance, and I know how to make my money last. And then that gives you a whole nother set of skills. And or the last is, I know directors, I know writers, or I know actors, and I'm connected enough to be able to pull all of these together. The only thing I can say to people is, this is a tough business. It all looks glamorous and easy when you see the red carpets and the premieres, but some of these movies take sometimes decades to get made. And so, like Traffic is a movie that was out there for 11 years trying to get made before it finally went into production. So you have to just be very passionate about it, not give up on it, be prepared to take the no's gracefully and move right on until you get a yes. And if that passion still exists, then nobody should take your dream away.
I remember If These Walls Could Talk, and that was a real pivotal, I think, moment for a lot of people, and that gave a lot of people just an awareness. Was that something that you were passionate about, or it came to you, or how did that all happen?
So that was an interesting move and movie. I read a lot, and at the time, Demi Moore became the most expensive actress in Hollywood. And it happened kind of overnight. She did a movie, and all of a sudden, her price was skyrocketing. And I was very aware of that, and we had this project that nobody wanted. 3 short stories about abortion, kiss of death. My partner at the time when I walked it in said, absolutely not. Nobody was going to buy a movie about abortion, especially 3 short stories about abortion. I, again, as the businesswoman, thought, no. We have this movie that is no more than $6 million. Demi Moore's asking price is going to $10 million. I've got her starring in this movie. This financially makes sense to me. And since I was one of the people that had financed the company we were in, I said, we're doing this. And we did. And it ended up being a grounding force for HBO at the time. This was one of their first theatrical movies, one of the first movies to ever go out to get all the accolades and the awards that it did. And I just loved it.
Yeah, it was. I remember it. Working with a lot of talent, sometimes they can be challenging. Yeah. I know you've worked with Michael Douglas, Benicio del Toro, Cameron Diaz, Dennis Quaid, De Niro, Sissy Spacek. Was there one who just really, I don't know, you connected to deep, where you understood them, or they understood you, and it just flowed out of all the bunch of actors?
I mean, I tend to get along very well with actors, so I can't say that there's one in particular. I think, again, I'm glad I have a therapy background. There's many long nights where you're sitting there 16 hours on sets, and so I tend to get along with all of them. One in particular, I don't know. I think I pretty much get along with all of them. Yeah, I love actors, and they've been very good to me.
What was the most challenging movie you put together and tried to complete out of all of them that you said every day there's something?
A movie called Savior, which we shot in Serbia. So the day I landed in Serbia was the start of the Bosnian-Serbian War. So I landed in Serbia to find tanks coming down Belgrade. And in fact, nobody knew where I was for almost a day. The journalist in me, because I had a year where I worked with CBS, it's too bad we didn't have cell phones back then, because I would have loved to have had a picture with me with these 100,000 students in the middle of the street in Serbia. That movie was incredibly challenging, though. We just landed to this foreign country. The war was breaking out. We had to quickly move our sets from Belgrade down to Montenegro and eventually this area called Podgorica. And every day was a challenge. In fact, I remember one day I was all excited because I thought all of my extras were there, which was for this war scene. And I was very excitedly going to put them where they should be, and they were actually the real soldiers. So it was challenging. We had to open hotels and quickly move, and nobody knew when the power was coming off, when the power was being shut off. There was, they would kill the animals outside of our hotel room in the middle of the morning, which was horrifying to me. For them, it was great because the animals were fresh. But, they would literally slit their necks and
Yikes.
and nail them to a tree where the blood would flow and then eventually bring them in for us to eat. And I ended up getting super, super skinny on that set because I just couldn't eat what was hanging outside my hotel room. So everything about that movie was challenging. But we won the United Nations Award, and I'm very proud of the film, but it was difficult.
What was the best film experience you've had to date?
There was a movie called Very Bad Things that also had its complexities, but I loved every minute of it. I started Peter Berg, the actor, who then became the director, gave him his first directorial. That was a mishmash of Peter and I calling all of our friends. And it was so much fun because it was Cameron Diaz and Jeremy Piven, and everybody was in that. Jon Favreau was in that before his illustrious, humongous directing career. So it was a lot of friends having a really good time. It was one of my few times getting to shoot in Los Angeles. And when we weren't in Los Angeles, we were in Vegas, so things could be worse, meaning it was the greatest ever. And everything about it I just loved.
How do you trust your inner voice? Is there a sign, or that you just feel your gut intuitive vibe? How do you trust that? Is there a process, or you just immediately connect?
I've been very intuitive. My friends say I'm very witchy my whole life. I'm blessed with these incredible abilities from somebody up there. Must have done something right in a past life. And so far it's just guided me in ways that I can't even express or say, but in the best of ways. And I've just always trusted my gut. In fact, one of the things that I always tell people that work for me and people that are around me, as I'm sure you do too, is your gut tells you everything. People just choose not to believe it or go with it, or they start hearing other voices and second guessing. But if you listen to your gut, 9 out of 10 times you're right.
Yeah, because I think people don't trust.
Don't trust.
And, I think our work in this lifetime is really to fill ourselves up with love and joy. And that allows you to basically stand in your truth. And I think most of the people are not standing in their truth. So when you're choosing a film, or you're saying, I want to work with this director, you go with your gut.
Absolutely.
It's like the first time I met you. And I met you out here, but there was an instant rapport. And then when we got to speak a couple months ago, it was like, wham, we got it.
Yep.
And I think souls are put together by the vibration. And I believe intuition is 90% of your spot-on work.
Absolutely.
You've been able to choose the right thing. I don't think there's luck. I think it's basically trusting.
Yeah.
Trusting. Why do you think people do not trust in this lifetime?
I mean, look, a lot of people have a lot of inner and exterior voices in their head, and it's what you choose to listen to. And also your upbringing. I mean, we all have different upbringings. I was lucky enough to be raised by wonderful parents, and, it gave me the grounding of which I still exist. But there's a lot of exterior influences, especially now. My worry now is with AI and social media and everything that's out there, is that people really are not listening to their gut and their inner voices. They're being so bombarded with what you should feel, should think, should interact with, that we're in big trouble. And, whether people meditate or not, that's not the biggest thing. The biggest thing is turning off devices and having a moment where you're either sitting with yourself or sitting with somebody, that you actually are present and listening and looking them in the eyes. Because people aren't doing that, they're not following their gut. I wouldn't know if you're a good or a bad person if I'm not literally looking you in the eye. That's a problem.
Correct.
And if I'm not spending time with you and feeling your vibration because my head is too busy buried in my phone, I don't know what then I'm going to deal with. And so then we don't get the opportunity to actually know what our gut is saying or not about the person, because we haven't given them an opportunity to show us what they are.
Or if you met someone on Zoom, it's not the same as if I've sat with you for
Absolutely.
an hour. Then you really feel.
It was a really big problem for me, and I'm sure others during COVID and these strikes that just happened. I could have 10 Zooms with you, and I will not feel connected. I could have one lunch with you, and
Correct. And that's why I always feel, even when I am in Europe working with people, I'll have done a session or a lunch with them.
Yeah.
It's like a connection.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't go away. You
Definitely.
immediately get the person.
Definitely.
What has been Cindy's biggest challenge that you've been able to overcome or are in the process of overcoming?
I mean, look, there's still a girl thing. I wish there wasn't. I used to think it was great being a girl because it did open a lot of doors quicker than most. The problem is the doors weren't necessarily opening for the reasons that I thought they were. But I always told my girl counterparts, just be smart enough when you're in the room to stay in the room. You can get in the room, but now be smart enough to stay there. I would think with everything that's going on right now, that whether you're a girl or not would have gone away. And I have to say, I've been in the business over 20 years, and for the most part, it's been incredibly great for me. But I still have challenges. Like a last movie I was on, the movie hasn't started yet, but it was a bunch of older guys, and it was the first time in a long time that I realized whatever I said was going to be second-guessed while the guys did their thing. 9 out of 10 times it was wrong, and eventually they came back to me. But it was like, geez, here we go again. I have to prove my worth every step of the way.
And I think in Hollywood, a lot of people call women who are smart or have to prove their worth as ball busters or divas or whatever. But I believe you have to be in that space. And most of the women are smarter than the guys who are running the companies.
Yeah.
And yet they're on the bottom tier.
Yeah.
So I understand the struggle. And I believe that you just have to keep shiny and just keep confident that your intent is really, that you're enough and you don't have to prove anything. Sometimes the other people feel that and they don't want to rock the boat,
And sometimes, by the way, whether it's a male producer that I'm working with or somebody that I'm involved with romantically, that can be intimidating. And no matter how Southern I am, or no matter how much I try to make the man feel like he's first, and I know a lot of women are probably going to come down on me for that, but I'm very Southern. I don't want to walk in front of a man. I want to walk next to a man. To me, we're the same, and I want to lift my man up at all times. But a lot of times when there's a lot of actors calling directors or, producers, and they have huge names, or I'm going away for 2 or 3 months, it's intimidating and it's hard. But,
I think, any relationship is based on trust, and especially
Absolutely.
A romantic relationship is really the icing on the cupcake.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people look at it as the other way around. Oh, when I have that relationship, I'll be whole.
Yeah.
And I think we already are whole.
100%.
And that's what people are perceiving, that they're not really learning this. I don't want to say it's a lesson, but it's a path that all of us have to
100%.
know that we're enough.
We're enough.
And I think when you have that, then you attract the right relationship. But I think every relationship, whether you want to call it good or bad, is a stepping stone.
100%. I mean, look, entertainment is not normal. It's I'm very happy I've been in it. I've gotten to travel the world and meet the most incredible people. But it's got its challenges. No matter what part of entertainment you're in, it comes with a lot of its own issues, good and bad. And to me, I'm fine with it, but I kind of grew up with it. And to some others, kind of seeing it from the outside, it can be daunting.
What does love mean to you?
God, love is everything. Depends. Whether I'm in love with a puppy or in love with a man or in love with my family. It is a feeling of happiness and joy, and wholeness and unconditional, which means for me, it brings me such joy, and I would do anything for that animal, family member, lover, whatever. It's just an all-encompassing feeling of joy.
Why do you think people have a hard time of loving themselves?
Familial. Somebody didn't love them as a child. It's so heartbreaking. And, as a former therapist, there are so many issues that children have to grow up with now that translate later on. And the biggest thing, as you know as well as I do, Gary, is, God, nobody can love you if you don't love yourself first. And it's heartbreaking to see, because people are expecting someone else to fix them, and you literally have to fix yourself first. Be able to spend time alone with yourself, be able to love every part of yourself, and then watch how your relationships change.
I agree. I mean, I think, self-love is the
Everything.
hardest thing, the first thing.
Everything.
Who inspires you musically?
God, I want to say that I'm lucky enough. I'm doing a project about my favorite music artist ever, and I'm not allowed to announce it, so I cannot say who it is. But very soon, you're going to see an announcement of my favorite music artist ever, and I'm lucky enough to have a 10-part miniseries on him. But music in general, I'm a classic rock girl, so the likes of U2 and Lenny Kravitz and even John Bon Jovi, and a lot of these people are, in fact, all of those are friends of mine, I'm blessed to say. But I absolutely love their music. Yeah. So
I think music is a vibration of healing in some way, and a lot of people, I believe, do not follow that, or they negate it from their life. And, I think it's finding the balance, which is important. Do you do a meditation ritual, or what does this Cindy day look like in the morning, or when you get going?
No, my mornings are crazy. My mornings my films tend not to be in America. So sadly for me right now, from the moment I go to bed to the moment I get up, it's catching up with people on the other side of the world that have been waiting for me to wake up or go to bed. My rituals tend to be at night, right before I go to bed, if anything. I'm a candle girl. Candles kind of put me in the moment of just calming down. I find that if I take a couple moments to light candles, it allows me to sit and then putting on some beautiful music and just feel gratitude. And I tend and try every day to just at least go through 3 to 5 things that I'm most grateful for that day. I think gratitude is everything. And if more people would practice gratitude, you'll realize things aren't that bad. Even when you think they are, as long as you're breathing, as long as there's a family member, as long as the sun is shining, there's something to be grateful for. And if we can concentrate a little bit more on those moments of gratitude, I think, again, people's lives will change.
Yeah, gratitude is everything.
Everything.
Because I think it puts you back into balance, and you might be off, and it just, you go, wow, how lucky am I?
Yep.
When you travel, I know there's favorite spots around the world. What's your favorite spot, or the top 3 spots that you've been to?
I loved Africa. I went on a safari in Africa, God, probably 7-8 years ago, and I swear it changed me even on a cellular level. Being out there in nature, and, for anybody who hasn't gone on a safari, you probably think, I'm going to get bored. How long can I sit out here watching an elephant or a lion? And I hope everybody gets an opportunity to do it. It puts the world in a different order, in a different place, and I just loved every minute of it. I also loved Israel. I think there's something very special about Israel and its people, And on the flip side, I also love Thailand. Thailand is so magical. The people are so nice. The beauty of the water, the people, the religions over there. I almost could move to Thailand. I just think it's magical.
Yeah, I think every country has a power spot where you feel I'm so connected to Switzerland.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm there, I feel like I'm home, especially Zurich. It feels like I'm in a rock, a solid rock. And I believe that every place that we resonate to, we've had some past life there, because why would we feel I'm home?
Yeah.
You know. Answer these one words. What does the soul mean?
You want me to answer the soul in one word?
Oh, no, it can be like a sentence.
The soul, what does it mean? The soul is where everything comes from. The soul is you.
What's your favorite thing to do on a Sunday morning?
Lounge. I rarely get times to lounge. It's the one time on Sunday mornings that my phones are off and I get to take me time.
If you could go back into history and speak to someone who's no longer with us and ask them a question, who would it be and what would you ask?
I never got to meet Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And although you probably wanted me to go further back, she's somebody that I always wanted to sit with. If we could pick one person to dine with, it was her. And I'd want to ask her everything. I mean, that woman was such a trailblazer and ball buster ahead of her time that I literally watched her documentary over and over and would hang on every word.
What's Cindy's ultimate mission, and what's on the bucket list that you want to create, do, work with? What would it be?
I'm kind of living my bucket list. I'm about to do, like I said, a mini series on my favorite music artist ever with my favorite writer ever and hopefully my favorite actor ever. So I'm doing that.
Okay.
I am getting a little bit more into the world of technology. I think I want to live multi-continental. I don't think I'll only be in America anymore, even though I travel a lot to different countries. I think it's time to base possibly out of two of them.
Excellent.
And I don't know. Every day is a good day. I think I'm living my dream.
I believe a lot of people are not living the dream, and in order to live your dream, you have to become your dream.
I agree.
And step into those shoes, which you always have, which is rare for a person.
Yeah.
So I believe that you're it.
Thank you.
You have the golden ticket.
Thank you. I feel incredibly blessed every day. I really do. It's when your real life exceeds your dreams, you've got a home run.
Well, I'm excited about your new project in England right now that you're heading off to, and all the new successes you're going to have with this other new project. And I wish you great energy, love, happiness.
Oh, thank you.
And I will see you on the flip side.
Thank you. And thanks, everybody. It was wonderful.
Thanks, you,
Gary.
Cindy.
Thank you.
I'm Gary Quinn. Thank you for joining me today on another episode of Ready, Set, Live. Until next time, be well.